Are you a boss in business but a dating disaster? Let's talk about this. Why does it happen? And what does we even mean? Why is it that we would be really mastering our career and our purpose and our business, whatever line of work you're in, but we'd be really struggling in dating and we'd kind of fall apart when it came to love and relationships? I'm going to talk about why that is. If you haven't met me before, I'm Cheryl Muir, relationship expert, relationship whisperer, helping high achievers overcome dating drama and build healthy relationships. Why do I work with high achievers? I am one. Hi, I'm Cheryl. I'm an overachiever, high achiever type of a person. And I remember when I was working in the corporate world back in 2013, so it wasn't that long ago, I remember experiencing this myself, and there was a lot of shame around it. Maybe I'll create another video around shame when we're a high achiever and we're struggling in relationships. But I witnessed something, and let me share this story with you. I witnessed a lady who I worked with who's a senior consultant for the public relations firm I work for, and she used to work in government. She was one of the advisors for one of the senior offices in the Canadian Parliament. Like, she was literally working very close to the Prime Minister at the time. It was just before Justin Trudeau got ushered in, who I voted for and who now has turned into a bit of a fascist, but that's not even what we're talking about. But the point is, she worked at that level of government, right? Very intelligent young woman, very driven, one of the sharpest people I've ever worked with. And she was also a beautiful human being, which wasn't always the case in public relations, let me tell you. I think there were people who, in retrospect, had some kind of diagnosable cluster B personality situation going on. But I digress. So this lady was brilliant, smart, sharp as a fucking tack, really, really switched on. And then there was a bunch of us in the office who were dating at the time. We were on Tinder or whatever it was. There was a bunch of us, so we were always sharing our dating stories with each other. And I saw this lady in her office, and we'd been talking about a business thing, a business issue, and she'd been really on it, right? And then I said, hey, by the way, how's it going with that guy that you want on a date with? And she grabbed her phone and she changed. This intelligent, sharp, smart woman became like a teenager, like a small, very small version of herself. She was frantic. He hasn't texted back, and I don't know why, and I don't know what's going on. It went so well. What should I do? So why did that happen? And by the way, I was in my dating drama at the time, so I could recognize the shift, even though I was also in my patterns as well. Why would that happen, and why is that happening for you? Because the person that we are at work, we've self-actualized, right? We've become the woman or the man we want to be at work and in business. We've mastered that. We can set boundaries. We can say no. We can tell someone to fuck off when they're crossing the line. We haven't mastered relationships yet. And what else is going on is, in relationships, in dating, it's triggering old wounds that take us back to a very small part of us. We go back to childhood, effectively. Right? So the guy doesn't text back. We feel abandoned. We go back to when we felt abandoned the first time, which was 5 years old, when our dad said he didn't want children anyway, or our dad didn't come back from work, or we were waiting at the window for our dad to come back, and it was hours and hours and hours. We remember waiting for him. We remember feeling abandoned. We remember feeling left. Whatever the dynamic was, whether it was a small thing that really stuck with us, whether it was lots of small things over time, which is kind of like death by 1,000 cuts, or whether it was trauma, whether there was emotional neglect, physical neglect, whatever it is for you, it stuck with us, right? And so in dating, that small part of us is being triggered. And so we're not the confident, independent businesswoman in dating. We're the wounded little girl who wasn't connected to her father, who felt unloved, who felt unseen, who felt not good enough. And we're leading from that place in dating and love. And that's why you fall apart in dating and relationships. It's also because in business, we're mostly in our head, right? You're smart, you're intelligent, I know that you are. Then when it comes to dating and relationships, it's more about feeling. We can't strategize in love and dating. You've probably tried to do that. You've probably read all the books and, watched all the YouTube videos, how to get him to text back and all that shit. And it's not that any of that advice is bad or wrong, but for people like us that have a trauma history. It's using the wrong tool. It's like trying to cut a steak with a butter knife. There's nothing wrong with the steak. I mean, I'm vegan, so bad example. There's nothing wrong with the steak. There's nothing wrong with the knife, but it's the wrong tool for the job, right? And so what do we do instead? We do the thing you don't want to do, which is to feel the feelings that you felt when you were small, when you felt abandoned and rejected by your father or by whomever it was. It's usually a father figure, not always. But you allow yourself to feel those feelings. You allow it to come up, the sadness, the anger, the rage, whatever it is for you, and you allow yourself to feel it. And from there you move through it. If you need help with that, that's what I do. There's a link down below to book a call with me. You probably can't get through this on your own. And if you're busy, you just want to be through this, then you're going to need someone who can get you through it quickly, and I can, right? But we're going to need to get you to feel those feelings. We can't avoid it. We can't avoid it. And then once we feel it, we become our own parent, and then we're able to lead through the dating process instead of letting our wounded little girl run the show. Because she's choosing people based on what? Based on what she's seen. So she's going to choose people that remind her of what's familiar to her, and what's familiar is being left, being abandoned, being unseen. So she's choosing, and bless her, we love our inner child, but we need her in here so that we can nurture her and say, it's okay, you're safe, you're going to be all right, I've got you, I'm going to make a good choice for us. And she might be kind of kicking off and feeling lots of things, and we soothe that, and we don't let her lead in dating, right? We make the decisions now. It's a little bit like having a puppy who's a bit unruly, you know? We have to train him or her to do the things that we need them to do. And I don't say that in the way of, oh, our inner child has to behave, but what I mean is we need to learn the skills. You need to learn the skills to have her quieten down so that she's not going, oh my God, why hasn't he texted me? What's wrong with me? What should I do? How can I make him see? We can go, okay, I'm feeling fear. I'm feeling sadness, and it reminds me of when I was abandoned when I was a kid. And so what I'm going to do is nurture that, tell myself I'm safe, tune into what I need, and then make a choice after that. Instead of making a choice from abandonment, which sounds like texting him a long text, he scrolls through his phone 5 times, he's still not at the end of the message. That's not coming from a healthy, healed place. It's also not fair on him or her, whoever you date. It's not fair on the other person to emotionally vomit, right? And then what happens, you've done that, you're like, shit, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? I'm smart, I've got a good job, why am I doing this? And then the shame compounds. What I find with most of my clients is, and maybe this is true for you as well, is that you've had a lot of trauma and people would never know because you're fucking good at hiding it. And sometimes that hiding it, putting on a brave face, is where suppressing it, we're not allowing ourselves to actually say, God, I've been through a lot. I've been through a lot. And that often happens in session with me too, is that feeling of what usually happens, spoiler, is usually my client will say something like, God, why am I crying? Oh my God, I can't believe I'm crying. I didn't think I would cry this soon into the session. And it's like, it's okay, feel it. Feel it, you've been through a lot. Let yourself just feel that and go, God, yeah, I've been through a lot and I've come so far and I'm so proud of myself. And I allow myself to feel how far I've come in my career and just give myself that kudos instead of constantly trying to get on to the next thing. Allowing yourself to really feel it and be proud of yourself instead of striving to impress some kind of internalized parent. Most entrepreneurs and high achievers have a trauma history. I used to have a friend who was a psychotherapist, and we talk about this, and she had some theories as to why, but often when you've had to get through an incredibly difficult time when you were small, you develop this massive resilience, but that resilience turns into a bit of a lone wolf mentality, which definitely doesn't serve us in relationships, but it also means it's made you very driven. It's kind of like, if I can overcome that thing, I can overcome anything. So yeah, on the outside you look like a high achiever and you've accomplished a lot, but then there's this secret feeling of, oh shit, I'm still struggling in love. So I'm going to stop there. I'm going to make a separate video on how to overcome the shame of being a high achieving person who has dating drama, and I really hope that's going to help you just feel seen, feel acknowledged. You're not alone in this. Everyone I work with has this, and it feels like the dirty secret, right? And it's not, it's okay. You've been through a lot. Okay, I'm going to record that video for you now. If you need more from me, subscribe here if you're not already. Ring the bell so you get notified when I release videos. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter. Just type in my name there. And my website is cherylmuir.com, and the details of how to book a call with me are down below. You're doing a great job. There's nothing wrong with you. I love you. See you next time.